starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy and Brendan here, and it's draft day. Finally here. Did you watch draft day last night, Brendan, in celebration?
Yeah, I didn't sleep. I just watched it over and over again till sun came up.
I kept meaning to do it. I didn't do it this year. I just didn't.
I won't even feign it. Like, I have no intention of
you just don't
watching the movie.
Like, no thanks.
Maybe if my kids one day want to watch it, then I guess I'll see it then. But we're a ways off from that.
I was watching Yellowstone last night. Does that count?
I don't think it's the same thing.
I mean,
nope.
It's same main actor, I guess. Anyway, I think tonight's draft night, and certainly for the Chiefs, will be a lot more entertaining. What will they do? We'll give our final predictions on that on the show. We're going to talk here in a bit about an interesting possibility that could be out there for the Chiefs if another team is willing to play ball regarding a certain receiver. We'll also talk about, the increasingly odd Mike Vrabel news of the day.
It's everything I ever thought it was from the start, and then it's like 10 times worse than that.
It's so bad now. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune talking some Mizzou portal with us, as well as some NFL draft with regards to the Mizzou players that could be taken this weekend. We want your thoughts on it all here at 875 KTGR, but let's get to this first.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
It's finally here, draft day. The Chiefs have 2 picks in the first round, so this is probably the most anticipated Chiefs draft we've had in quite some time. And we know that they've got to turn this roster over quick because you're not going to waste years of Patrick Mahomes at the quarterback spot. You got to be contending every year. So it begins tonight, and could it begin with an interesting trade proposition? Pro Football Talk reporting that the Jaguars may be laying foundation for a potential trade into the bottom of round 1, potentially floating wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. as part of those conversations. The Chiefs, of course, they'll be picking at 9 if they don't trade out of that spot. But they also have pick number 29, which happens to be right there at the bottom of the first round. Could the Chiefs be a match for Brian Thomas? And would you make that trade if it were available to Kansas City? Pick 29 for Brian Thomas straight up. That is your Big Show's Big Deal on this 23rd day of April, 2026, 875 KTGR. To call or text us with your thoughts on this. Andy, would you do it? Would you do 29 for Brian Thomas Jr. of the Jaguars?
I want to make sure that I've got everything that the draft or that the Jaguars have with their draft, right? They're not picking in the first round at all, correct? Like they want to get into the first round with this, with how this is situated.
I think maybe. I don't know if they did they not have their own first round
scanning
pick?
The Jaguars. No,
Scanning.
Cleveland has their pick at 24. So
okay, there it is.
They don't have the one that's issued to them every year.
Yeah,
I don't see any other spots where they would be traded in.
I think you're right.
So obviously,
there's the reasoning they want to do it, right? It's obvious why they might want to get involved in the action tonight. But then it takes something to get something. You'd have to trade something of value. Brian Thomas Jr., Andy, has been.
You love that guy, right?
Well, I used to. 2024, I really thought he was going to be something. His rookie season was impressive. 87 receptions, 133 targets. So they were looking his direction. Not a super great catch rate, but like nothing that was alarming. Over 1,200 yards, had double-digit touchdown total as a rookie. Then last year happened. There were moments where you're watching Jaguar games and like Brian Thomas was a ghost out there at times. And there were a couple of games in particular where you want to talk about the opportunity to make a contested catch to help your team win a game. And he was just not interested. The body language was bad.
Yeah.
So like you've got an uber talented player. He was great at LSU. He was great his rookie year, seemingly going to make a year 2 jump. Like he was poised to do that. He was the type of guy I was drafting at like the end of round 1, top of round 2 in fantasy drafts last year. I was really excited about him. And then it was this other aspect that I couldn't have necessarily predicted where he just doesn't look like he's interested in going over the middle and like being tough as a wide receiver, the type of stuff that you sometimes got to do in the NFL. Like you can do the pretty boy catches. They worked out really well. You got the speed to do it. You can get the separation, but he just didn't look like, and I know he had some injury stuff, like a shoulder that he was kind of dealing with, and it showed in the way that he played. So as you're evaluating, why did Brian Thomas go from 87, 1,210 his first year to 48 catches, 700 yards, and 2 touchdowns as a sophomore this past season? Played 3 fewer games due to the injuries I mentioned, but that is a huge drop-off in production for a guy, an archetype of a player that normally we've seen those type of guys that have great rookie years ascend in year 2. There was a realm in which I thought we'd be talking about Brian Thomas Jr. as like one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. We're not doing that. And some of the reasons that I'm afraid that we may never do that are the reasons that I would think long and hard if I'm the Chiefs about, getting into business with Brian Thomas and giving up a premium draft pick to do it.
Yeah. And what also worries me about that is that Thomas's production drop off happened in a year where we thought Trevor Lawrence's production was up. He was better last year.
Yep.
And Brian Thomas his numbers did not benefit from that. So that speaks more to him of why were you not more involved? And that was probably his team not wanting him to be as involved based on how he was going about his business. So that is a worry. That truly is. And for me, it does not make me sleep a little bit easier at night having that pick take my 29 instead of just going with like a Casey Concepcion there. That's ultimately where I would want to have a little more, comfort with how my wide receiver position will look down the line. Like one of the reasons why the Chiefs are being talked about as a team that will be picking at wide receiver, and people are asking like, well, you have Rashee Rice, you have Xavier Worthy. Well, again, Rice is in a contract year, and next year, only 2 wideouts you got on the books are Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton. You want to roll with that? Like, I don't know.
Are you trying to extend Rashee Rice? Because
wow,
I mean,
that is a huge question mark. And again, Kelsey's probably gone that next year too. So it is a true question as to who Patrick Mahomes' pass catchers will be beyond this season. I think that you have some good options this year, but the idea of taking a wideout or some sort of pass catcher early on is to keep your window open for future years, which, look, the Chiefs should be using this draft for that too. They shouldn't just be using it for trying to get back to the Super Bowl. That's obviously priority number 1 for this season, but you do have to think about with all the ammunition that you have to keep your window open. And I just don't think a move for Brian Thomas does that with your first round pick. Now, if you're talking second or third round, I mean,
pick what do the Chiefs have?
A little more. They've got 40.
Yeah.
And they've got a third rounder. I want to make sure I know where their third round pick is, 74. So that would be a little bit. I would offer them 74. Like if you're trying to get rid of Brian Thomas Jr. and he's cost controlled and you can give him a 5th year option if you want into 2028.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking up the info on that. He's got 2 years left plus that 5th year option that they would decide upon next year. I don't think they have to choose that by this year's deadline. So theoretically 3 years remaining on his rookie deal. Pick 40, that would be interesting to me. I would even be compelled to say if the Jaguars are so dead set on getting back into the first round that they need 29, they've got pick 56 to potentially throw back your way. If it's 56 and Brian Thomas for 29, I would say betting on the upside and betting on a Patrick Mahomes to be the calming presence to get Brian Thomas's act together is a bet I'm willing to make, like within reason. And then if you recoup pick 56, that's a late second. You still have some ammo there. I would consider that to be very interesting. 29 straight up for Thomas. I don't. I think there are too many risks associated to put all my eggs into that basket with that pick. And look, there may be the reality in a handful of hours that you don't get to access a Casey Concepcion at 29, or some of the other receiver names you might like there might already be gone. That is a possibility. And then you're left with deciding, is there anybody at 40 that's worthwhile? Do you reach on somebody at 29? Some difficult conversations to be had there. if the draft board doesn't fall your way as you're thinking about all the things you just mentioned with regard to future seasons. Because as much as it matters to put a good product on the field with Mahomes this year, Mahomes' longevity is still something that we consider to be very strong, very much intact. And so you don't want to throw away any future seasons by not planning ahead for attrition to your pass catching unit. So I like Thomas, but it feels very much like you'd be playing with fire to say, all right, there's a lot of red flags from him from last year. We're going to add that to a Rashee Rice, who is the human red flag, and add him to Xavier Worthy, who we just haven't seen really be consistently productive in a full season, has had some injuries, and is the body type that you can continue to get hurt, right? He's not huge at that wide receiver position. Brian Thomas is about 6'2", 200 pounds, a little more heft to him. So you'd like to think he could stay healthy. But like I said, I think part of the reason that he was playing so passively last year was the shoulder, the various physical issues he might have been going through behind the scenes that caused him to miss a few games. So you got to be sure of what you're doing. We talk about how important this draft is for the Chiefs, Andy, and we're talking about taking a risk on, you'd be buying somebody low because, again, if his sophomore campaign goes differently, nobody's talking about trading Brian Thomas Jr., and you wouldn't be able to pry him from Jacksonville's cold, dead hands. But that it's not the year he had. Do you believe that what you saw from him as a rookie is more like it and that he can even continue to evolve from that? Or is there a motor concern, or do you have concern about him as the type of stuff you can't really teach and you just have to know the person and the player to be able to evaluate?
I would hope that a player like that sees it as an opportunity to play with probably the best quarterback ever and shapes up because of it.
Yeah. And if you want to bet on that, then you might have something.
He might.
Because this guy's got talent. There's
it's a
no
huge
question
might,
about that.
though. Like I still, because we haven't necessarily seen it with every pass catcher that has come through the Chiefs locker room since Patrick Mahomes has gotten here.
No, but he's also turned guys that just were complete bums into guys who were catching franchise-defining balls in the Super Bowl.
That's
you know what I mean?
Very fair. Very fair.
There's both
but it
sides
didn't
of that
necessarily
coin.
end well with Kadarius Toney. Like you saw a
it
few moments, and it was very beneficial for the Chiefs at the time. So maybe that's just what you're going for. But it's
not here for a long time. Here for a good time.
Maybe.
And we'll do it again in 2 years if we have to.
But again, if you're thinking that you are going to let Rashee Rice walk after this year, you get whatever you can out of him, and then you decide, okay, we'll set our future at the wide receiver position on Xavier Worthy and potentially Brian Thomas Jr., two guys that were in the same draft class. I mean, it's a little risky if you ask me, but depending on how the Chiefs decide to treat their pick at 9. Like if they go ahead and get Ruben Bain, they're like, okay, yeah, we've got our pass rusher. Now we have a little bit of wiggle room to see how the rest of the board goes. And if there's not a player that is jumping out at us at 29, then I could understand it with what you're saying, Brendan. Give us your 56 as well. And then we've got
And by the way, Rashee Rice was pick 55. And as much as we can like poo-poo not trusting his future, we can acknowledge there's talent there, and you can get talented players in the back end of the second round.
Sure can. I would be using that pick to get another edge rusher, though, because the Chiefs
a defensive player for sure,
something
in some
like that,
form or fashion. For me.
Because you'd have 40 and you'd have 56, and I think if you use both of them on defense, great. Or if you pick Bain at 9 and then you want to go offense with one of the picks, that's okay too. But
by offense, I mean tackle. If you're,
I mean that could happen. Yeah.
If you're trading to get a receiver and spending a big time pick to do it, I would say the rest of my draft would be defense and meat and potato type of offense.
Yeah.
For the first 2 days of the draft. If I'm drafting skill players, it needs to be on a day where Mike Vrabel is not present at the draft. If you know what I'm saying. That's the time when you're allowed to draft a skill player again. Is if Mike Vrabel has vacated the premises, then you're allowed to. Which, who knows? Maybe he won't be there at all after some of the stuff from today. But if you're doing the Brian Thomas thing, I would want to see defense. I would want to start stocking up on, because like if they're going Ruben Bain at 9 or a different defensive player, not having like the dream tackle fall into their lap, which we've said we prefer defense there, I think. You do eventually have to say, like, let's start stocking up on taking some attempts at the dartboard on offensive tackle, offensive line, and start shoring up the depth there. But I think the Chiefs are in a luxurious position to be able to entertain these types of conversations, whether it's trading pick 29 for a Brian Thomas or moving up or down from 9 because the draft board falls in a particular way, that they're able to leverage that. We know they need talent, and trying to, beef up that defense after some attrition. So I think they're in a good spot to be able to take what comes to them, which may mean just making their 2 picks, or it could mean something of this ilk where if the Jaguars really want to pick that bad, maybe they'll give you their 2nd round pick just to get up 30 spots and get a premium piece and be able to sell that to their franchise, and then maybe be able to get out from under the Brian Thomas stuff, which, like, again, I'm remembering his rookie year. I'm remembering how much I liked him. I'm remembering how last year he was not the leading receiver on that team. It was Parker Washington, a former 6th round pick from 3 years ago.
Man.
Like, no offense to Parker Washington, who I came to really enjoy as a player this past year, but that shouldn't be happening. Like, that should not be in a year where Trevor Lawrence did seem to elevate his game, threw for 4,000 yards. Brian Thomas should have had a much better season than he did. And so the fact that he didn't is going to stick in your mind as you are making these judgment calls on what's it worth to you to potentially be able to answer that Rashee Rice question. Because I would say if they traded for Brian Thomas Jr. tonight, as much as we don't really trust him either long-term, I think it would be telling about Rashee Rice and where they stand on him as an extension candidate.
Yeah.
Because we don't have a clue what we're going to get out of him this year. And if it goes well, then it can be that George Pickens conversation of we're going to tag him, we're going to whatever. Like, there's a lot of things you can do. It's not automatically end of the road for Rice in Kansas City. But I would say if you're really skeptical about the Rice thing and you're like, we'll just take whatever he gives us as a bonus this year and move on, or do a tag and trade or whatever we got to do, then maybe that would be shown in a, hey, let's plant our flag around another questionable situation, but a guy who's, to my knowledge, his issues weren't off the field to this point, but on the field, I didn't like what I saw last year.
And look, if you can at least have that reality check with him, and even with all of that, we know that there is a pretty good floor from what he's shown as an NFL player anyway, a lot better than some of the floors that even your pass catchers right now on the Chiefs have.
Because he's so talented.
Yeah. So it's there.
It's
there if you're looking for just more guys to turn to, which it seemed there were a few times even just last year. Chiefs didn't have very many of those, either because of suspension or because Xavier Worthy got hurt on play 3 of the season and had to miss some time or anything like that. So, I mean, having an abundance of options for Patrick Mahomes certainly helps out your cause. It does kind of signal a bit of the future of like, okay, this is how we view this wide receiver spot, and we want to have at least another guy that could pan out down the line. I would be more intrigued by a Jordan Tyson doing that for me, though. Like, right? Like, just
for 5 years.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's the other thing, is the length of time you could do that.
Yeah. And so, like, if my options, if my top options that I wanted for defense at that number 9 spot aren't there, then I probably decide, you know what? Maybe I don't need to spend a pick to get a Brian Thomas who I have for less time. I could go and get Tyson and have more time to work with it. And also knowing that, look, I have the cover weapons-wise this season to allow Tyson to grow up in that sense. And then come 2027, there are the hopes of him being a top-line guy. So I would be more intrigued by that plan, but I think, Brendan, that's because it's more unknown. We know a little bit about what Brian Thomas is at the moment, and we're more intrigued by the unknown. That's why we love the draft. So that's kind of where I stand at the moment. I would lean more towards that, but it's just that's how I am aware of my psychological biases on that.
If I knew I could get KC Concepcion at 29, I think it's different.
Yeah.
If I knew I could get or insert wide receiver that you love at the end of the first round, that the draft board falls your way. And like, maybe they get to that point in the night where they're still holding that pick and they decide, hey, we like our options. 3 picks away, and we're going to start really ramping this up with Jacksonville. I think just as much as I like the flyer on a Brian Thomas for Mahomes to say, you're very talented, but we need you to play tougher. And he says, Pat, it's because I was hurt last year. I'm ready. Then like it could go really well. And you get a pick. Like if I'm getting, they've got 56, they've got 80. I don't know if I'm as gung-ho about it at 80. If it's, right. I get Brian Thomas an 80 for 29, but 56, I would be there. I would have to know that I trust what my evaluation, what my scouts and what my spies know about Brian Thomas, because you ask around and you say, what happened there, and try to get an idea for what he's all about. But there'd be a lot of intrigue, I think, for me, if I'm also getting another key pick in the first 60 picks that I could then make a splash with. That might be enough to turn me off of just getting the rookie wide receiver and rolling it out with that guy at 29.
So call or text us. There's a report from Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk that the Jaguars are trying to trade into the first round by dangling Brian Thomas Jr. out there. Could the Chiefs be a candidate for that with their number 29 pick? Would you want them to trade number 29 to get Brian Thomas Jr.? Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR if you want to weigh in. We have plenty more draft talk coming, including what we officially think will happen with round 1 tonight from the Chiefs front. We'll also talk about some of the Mizzou players that could be drafted and some transfer portal happenings with Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune. He joins us next to talk about all that here on The Big Show.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Stop smoking without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight and let Mark Patrick Hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Thursday, April 23rd, Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Or Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European Christmas vacation. Stroll through Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling Christmas market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. There's still time to experience this trip of a lifetime. Save up to $350 when you book before June 7th. Learn more and reserve your spot today at ZimmerCommunications.com. When you have a great product, it's not hard to sell, and no one has a better product than Fuse 32. When you're a part of our sales force, our creative team makes your job a lot simpler, like selling a fully loaded SUV with TVs in the back for the young family, and a third row because they're expecting more. It's a win-win, and everyone's happy. You'll have total confidence in yourself, the team alongside you, and what you offer to clients. Apply now at Fuse32.com. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
When people visit your place of business, everyone has a great time. You're giving families and friends a way to break up the boredom and have some fun together. Now you just need more people to enjoy what you have to offer. That's where ShopMidmo.com comes in. When you're part of ShopMidmo.com, thousands of potential customers will see your offers, helping you build your exposure. ShopMidmo.com is a great tool to give your business and fun experiences a jumpstart. Contact us today to find out more at ShopMidmo.com.
ShopMidmo.com. Rally House, shop every team in town. College and pro, come on, it's time to go.
Your home for sports just got bigger. Shop a new Rally House at the corner of Broadway and Stadium and 2 other Columbia locations.
Column stand tall on the black and gold road from Broadway to Faroe. Let the Tiger Pride show.
Rally House, Rally House. It's your city, it's your house, it's the Rally House.
Level up your fandom in-store or online at rallyhouse.com.
The 10th pick in tonight's Little League draft is Jackson Miller.
Nice pickup. Big arm, big swing, runs like his big brother is going to kill him. Next is Owen Bradley, big glue guy in the dugout, still eating glue in art class. Ben Thompson, he's still on the board. Great attitude, strong lungs. Most teams have him pegged for debate or possibly pep band.
Not every kid is a first-round pick, but at Play It Again Sports, every kid can play like one. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Today, draft day. First round tonight starts at 7 o'clock. Rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow. Rounds 4 through 7 Saturday. And not only looking at what the Chiefs will be doing with that here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app, but also several Mizzou players in the mix to be drafted all weekend long. I think one in particular that is potentially going to be drafted tonight. We'll see if he makes that cut at the end of the first round. Zion Young here to talk all things Mizzou with us, including from the NFL draft angles and also with Mizzou basketball in the transfer portal. Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune joins us now. And well, Calum, I mean, with the draft coming up here and with the players that we could hear very soon, it's kind of building up quite a bit since Eli Drinkwitz has had this run of success to expect some early attention for Mizzou's name, even if it may not be round one, but last couple of years it has been. How do you kind of see that playing out here over the next few days?
Yeah, I think it's pretty impressive. I mean, you're looking at possibly a couple of modern records falling over the course of this weekend. If Zion Young does go tonight, if he is a late first round pick, which some outlets are projecting, if he does, that's 3 straight years for Missouri. That has not happened in program history. They sent Darius Robinson as a first round pick in 2024. Arma Membu last year, and Zion Young would make it 3 straight years. And then you're kind of looking at even more just the bigger picture of how many players they could send to the draft this year. There is as many. If Khalil Jacobs and Toriano Pride pick up late round picks, Mizzou could send 6 or 7 players this season. That would, if it's on the 6th, that would tie the modern record from when the draft went to 7 rounds. That would be the most they've had. Did that in 2024 as well under Drinkwitz. So I think 2 of the 4 times that's happened since the early 90s would be under Eli Drinkwitz if it happens this year. And then if they do happen to send 7, that would be the all-time record back when I think the draft was like 12 or 14 rounds or something back in 1981. So you're looking at kind of like a sustained period of turning these guys in different ways as well. You look at guys like Arma Membu and Luther Burden last year who were high school recruits. You look at the class this year, every single player who's going to get drafted is a transfer and at some point to Mizzou. So it's, doing it in different ways, being able to identify professional talent at different stages of their career. I mean, I think it says pretty good job from the staff in terms of talent evaluation.
So, Calum, we mentioned Zion Young is getting maybe more of the publicity than some of the others. Is there a guy from this potential draft class for the Tigers that you see as, hey, some NFL team is going to get a real steal when it comes to kind of where he's maybe being mocked or what we are expecting versus that production that they may be able to provide at the next level?
I don't know. Every single time I've ever seen Josiah Trotter within 30 feet of me, I'm like, man, if that's not a professional linebacker, I don't know what it. He's just, it's an unbelievable sight to see him in person. He is built. I think, you look at his NFL bloodline, his father, his brother both played for the Eagles. I think his father was an Eagles Hall of Famer. He had such an impressive season for Missouri last year. I think 84 total tackles, just a magnet to the ball, so physical getting downhill. Looks like he's going to go somewhere. I think they're saying either late 2nd round, early 3rd round. I'm no draft expert, but that seems like a steal to me. The guy just looks like he's going to be in the professionals for a long, long time. He's carries himself so well around the facility. I really enjoyed interviewing him every time that I got the chance to speak to him. Such an impressive football player. He seems like a steal to me, no matter where he goes. Unless he goes tonight, then that seems
then it's properly graded. That seems about right for what Josiah Trotter should be. Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on the Big Show KTGR in the KTGR app. It was also interesting to see Kevin Coleman build up a lot of his name over the last few months or so. How do you think he fits in? Because it's always intriguing when you see a wide receiver in that type of role. How do you kind of view that for a team that might think that he's worth it at a spot?
Well, I think you saw him last year, even in a Missouri passing offense that was, I think enough time has passed now where we can just comfortably call it woebegone. I mean,
we can do that.
Yes. Truly dreadful. There's no sugarcoating it anymore, and I don't think anyone's trying to do that anymore. It was really, really stagnant, and anytime they were, outside of flashes from guys like Alubade, Kevin Coleman was really kind of the piece that was holding that together. If they were going to get any momentum, it was usually through him. His ability to separate, his ability, especially in those short yardage situations out of the slot. And I think that's kind of where he'll fit in the NFL. It seems like his projections are all pretty similar, I think, in that round 5 territory. I think teams have obviously seen what is a pretty intelligent route runner, pretty, quick separation, good hands. Like I think that's going to stand him in good stead. We saw it here, even in an offense that just couldn't move the ball downfield. If it did happen, it was coming through his ability to get open. I think a lot of teams are going to value that, and I think he's kind of pretty well positioned to hear his name called this week.
Calum McAndrew of the Columbia Daily Tribune here on the Big Show KTGR. So let's jump over to Mizzou basketball stuff now, Calum. It's been a good start to the portal here for Dennis Gates, as highlighted by the big dollar, I'm sure, landing of Bryson Tiller last week, making a lot of news that way. Yeah, just how you have seen it maybe a little bit differently develop this offseason from Dennis Gates, knowing that there is a lot of hype for this upcoming season.
Yeah, we, at least when I was putting together my moratorium on the season, like it did very much seem like the front court was where Missouri had to go and target. Like that was the spot that I was looking at on the roster with. Now we have to see what's going to happen now with this 5-for-5 proposition and whether that's going to bring in grandfathered in athletes or not, because that could just throw a real wrench in everything. But guys like Jalen Carey, somebody who primarily probably will play the 4 for Missouri, I think, who can come in and just grab a heap load of boards. Guys like Bryson Tiller who can give you some of that Mark Mitchell. Both of them can take that center duty role off of Trent Burns and give them a little bit more physicality in the front court. That was the thing that I think they really needed to go and target. First and foremost, I think that was the priority. And man, they've gone out and swung big. I think those are 2 absolutely excellent additions. Then you bring in Jameer Jones, who I think gives them just something a little bit different at that 2 or 3 spot there. Just getting downhill, looks like he's really comfortable in possession with the ball. I think that's another one. It's 3 really top end signings to me. If they can go out and if they can go and pick up a 3-point specialist guard, if they can go out and get a backup ball handler, I think you can't call this portal window anything other than a resounding success. Now, like I said, if this 5-for-5 comes in and suddenly you've got a situation where Mark Mitchell becomes eligible for another year, that maybe changes the calculus a little bit. But right now they have to transition over to the backcourt. We'll see what they do there. I've seen a couple of names linked, but it doesn't look like anything's quite come of those yet. We'll see what happens, but they definitely need a couple pieces, but so far so good. Really, really excellent additions.
I want to ask you a little bit about maybe how some of those additions may fit into the puzzle, but you brought up the 5-for-5 thing. I want to touch on that first. Right now, in theory, like 3 roster spots available for Missouri. Do you feel like teams have to be a little bit aware of this in the back of their minds on kind of just waiting this out and leaving open the possibility? Because it's not to say that every eligible player from all the teams will want to use up that eligibility or that they'd all be welcomed back. Mark Mitchell would be one that you're going to find a spot for that guy. I'm curious your thoughts on just how that could really throw a wrench into things.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I've kind of wondered even before this was thrown up whether Missouri would go to 15. They didn't last year, and I wondered whether they would maybe stay short of that again this year, just in case a European prospect came up, something along those lines. I wondered if they would just maybe leave a roster spot open. Now, it's like you said, if Mark Mitchell can come back, if that is something that possibly can happen, they do that before I can snap my fingers. It's like you do not hesitate with that. That is that is the biggest no-brainer. He's probably not going to be an NBA draft pick from the projections I'm seeing. If it's the choice for him is to go sign a two-way contract or come back to college, that doesn't seem like much of a choice right now. To me, it's not the same where Kobe Brown was a first-round draft pick a couple of years ago. Like, Mark Mitchell should probably come back and reap the rewards of what is a pretty good-looking NIL market right now, by all accounts. So it's something that coaches absolutely have to be cognizant of now. We do have these roster limits. We'll see. I mean, there's so much up in the air that's undecided. It's really difficult to tell exactly what that's going to look like. Will they lift the roster limits to avoid lawsuits? If a bunch of seniors who've played 4 years and suddenly get a fifth want to come back, do they lift those roster limits so that they can avoid going into more antitrust suits and whatnot, the thing that they're trying to avoid by doing all this in the first place? Then that gives you, but then you have to talk about, well, where are the NIL budgets? How much do you have left? If you bring Mark Mitchell back, that's probably not going to be cheap. So how do you go out and find a really good 3-point shooting guard with the money you have left? There are so many questions, and the timing of this is so far from ideal. I think in the long term, it's probably something that could help. But man, short term, I would not want to be a college basketball coach right now trying to figure all this stuff out. It is chaos, absolute chaos.
Yeah, short term, it could be a real mess. But let's focus on the roster that we know is in place. I found it striking that you've got a ton of talent on the upcoming roster, but where those talented players are expected to play the roles, we're kind of wish casting a little bit with some of this. Jameer Jones has said, they kind of view me as a 2. The roster build suggests that might be true. Jason Crow Jr. maybe on the ball as a freshman, just kind of running the point primarily is like, we think that's probably his talent level, but it's interesting. Okay, hey, we need a 3-point shooter. Trent Pierce, you've shot him before. Now you're going to shoot them all because you're the last guy standing for that archetype. The amount for Dennis Gates, just, hey, we've heard the notion of positionless basketball, but now we're going to go out and get all these star players and kind of push them into these roles to just see if it works. Is that a intriguing concept for you? Is that something that's a little bit risky? How do you kind of view that balance of no doubting the talent, but are the roles all going to fit together like they hope?
Both. It's both. It's risky and it's intriguing to me. It's intriguing because of what we just saw Michigan do. You look at this Missouri roster, and there's a world where they can throw out, and this is before we even get to like a grandfathered in, they could throw out 6'11" Trent Pierce, they could throw out 6'11" Bryson Tiller, they could throw out 6'8", 270-pound Jalen Carey, and they could throw out 7'5" Trent Burns. And I mean, that is huge. That is giant. You put Trent Pierce in at the 2, which he probably could do, like with his skill set. Like, I mean, that is just a giant person roster. That is fascinating to me. That is like an option, and it's 5 of your presumably rotation members next season as well. 5 guys that, like, 4, at least those 4 are guys that I would expect to play really significant minutes next season. Then you look at the other side of things and you're like, well, where is the guard depth here right now? Where, like, who is, I mean, you've got Jason Crow, who we at this point now expect, with Anthony Robinson, Theo Barrett gone, fully expect to run the point next season. I think that's a good thing. I mean, you've got a potential NBA one and done lottery pick on your roster. You should probably put the ball in his hands as much as possible. That seems like a decent idea to me. But I mean, he can't play 40 minutes a night. He can't play the 1 and the 2 at the same time. You're looking at a situation now where you've got a guy who was playing power forward for Providence last year, and Jameer Jones moving over to shooting guard. You've got Aaron Rowe, who was 155 pounds soaking wet, didn't play a minute last season, is your only other real backcourt option. Our Botan could maybe play some too, but we don't know what his injury situation is going to look like. So it's intriguing to me because of the size and the options of what you could do there, but it's not complete right now. You can't, like, that's not sustainable. I mean, it's really cool to think about the lineup construction possibilities that they could do with that, but they do need backcourt depth. I mean, you can't run into next season with the options that you have right now because it won't work. You need more there. They need somebody who can come in and take some of those ball handling minutes. They need someone who can come in and provide them a semblance of a 3-point shooting threat beyond Trent Pierce at the guard spot. So it'll be interesting to see what they do from here. Like you said, there's a bunch of intrigue with how they could put together some of these lineups. I mean, they're big and they're long, and they look like they'll be a better rebounding team and a better defensive team, but it's not complete yet.
Calum McAndrew, the Columbia Daily Tribune, here on the big show, KTGR. What can folks check out from you over at the Columbia Tribune?
NFL draft stuff all weekend. That's the good for Missouri that they've got all these guys. Bad for me because I have to do a bunch of writing. It's my off season. What are we doing, guys? Come on, I'm meant to be in the golf course right now. Portal stuff as it's coming in. We've got a live tracker going at the whole time and kind of adjusting on the fly as we see things, trying to sort out this 5 for 5 stuff. We'll see. We're flying by the seat of our pants right now.
It's college sports. It's working college sports and covering college sports, everything. Yeah. You kind of go with the wind a little bit, but go and check out Calum's great work over at the Columbia Daily Tribune. Follow him on Twitter at @C_McAndrew95. And great to have him here on the big show. Thanks for coming on, talking with us, Calum. Enjoy your weekend coming up. We'll talk soon.
Cheers. Talk soon.
All right. It is 4:42 here on the big show, KTGR. Yeah, look, the 5 for 5 thing, we're going to talk about it here coming up later. It could be wild how they decide.
Messy.
Seriously.
Messy. I mean, if they implement it right away, that could get crazy.
And look, we can probably come up with a right way to do it. Do you think the NCAA is really going to do it that way?
Part of me just wants to embrace the chaos.
I mean,
what's going to happen if they tell us that all the players who are 5th year, 4-year seniors, they played their 4 years within 4 years, so now technically they'd be eligible for another one. If they tell us all of a sudden, yeah, those guys could play next year if you want. Good luck. And then they just they run away. Here we go. And by the way, we bring up Mark Mitchell because he would qualify under that. He played 4 years, was a 4-year student, and then would have a 5th year of eligibility in theory.
But
then let's say, and we'll talk more about it, but let's say your NIL budget was already kind of to the brim. You can't let Mark Mitchell go to another school.
No.
You have to just find the money. I don't care how you find the money. You find it. And you bring him back. You bring Mark Mitchell back. So it could get crazy. Yep.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. We'll discuss more of that at 5:25. We'll talk some draft, of course. We'll give our predictions as to what the Chiefs will actually do at 5:05. But under the bus coming up next, maybe the biggest story of the NFL at the moment involves what is happening in New England and their head coach. We'll get to
no.
Next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. The Chiefs have 2 picks scheduled for tonight in the first round of the NFL draft at number 9 and number 29. That number 9 pick is the highest pick that they have held heading into the draft since 2013 when they took Eric Fisher, number 1 overall. Chiefs also have 3 picks in the top 40 picks of the NFL draft for the first time since 2008. Coverage of the draft starts at 7 o'clock tonight, as we also expect several Mizzou players to hear their name called this weekend. The most likely name to hear it called tonight would be Zion Young, the defensive end for Missouri, projected by most draft experts to be a late first or early second-round pick. Mizzou softball pitcher Marissa McCann threw a perfect game last night for the Tigers in their 7-0 win over SIUE. 11 strikeouts of 21 batters for McCann last night, as it's the 13th perfect game in Mizzou softball history. They were a game above 500. They traveled to visit Arkansas this weekend. Mizzou baseball hosts Arkansas tonight at 7. You can hear it on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Steve's Pest Control. The weather in Missouri is unpredictable, but termites are predictable. Visit stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. It's an ABC 17 Storm Track weather alert day through late tonight as we could see storms with strong winds and heavy rain starting around midnight and continuing throughout the overnight hours. Rain comes to an end early tomorrow with morning temperatures near 60. We'll see highs in the mid-70s. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Player of the Week.
This week features Hickman Junior golfer Aaron Herdina. Last week at the Smith Cotton Tournament, Aaron won the individual championship by shooting a 71. His efforts helped the Cupies finish 5th in the tournament out of 21 teams.
That's the Power Player of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
We're trying to save people money. Go.
What if we cut sandwiches into thirds instead of halves?
We could stop buying warranties and just hope.
What about switching our toilet paper to half ply?
You.
It doesn't take a terrible think tank to save money. Just shop at Family Pawn. They've got jewelry, electronics, tools, and gifts for way less. No sacrifices, no half-ply TP. Ugh.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Summer is coming. Are you ready? This is Michael Agnew at API Project Fitness. Now is the time to get moving. For a limited time, try our gym and all of our classes, expert coaching for just $1 for your first month. That's right, full access, real results, and a community that pushes you to be your very best, all for just $1. No pressure, no excuses, just progress. Stop waiting and start today for just $1. Find out more at APIProjectFitness.com.
Got to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Sweetie, the backyard's that way.
Oh, yeah. Just figured I'd use the toilet.
It's not normal for your man to pee indoors. He could be suffering from low D, low deck. A low deck just isn't as fun to pee off.
Maybe I'll try sitting down.
Or no D, no deck at all. But there's help. With Crutch's Custom Exteriors, a sky-high pee platform is all he needs to be and pee like a man again. Crutch's Custom Exteriors, true beauty is on the outside. Everyone's looking for their paradise. For some, the search starts at a dispensary. At Shangri-La, it is the dispensary. Because Shangri-La isn't a shady, oh, I can't wait to get out of here kind of spot. It's a welcoming, fun place to hang out, watch TV, and learn about the massive product selection with the cool staff. Whether you're a regular or first-timer, they'll get you set up just the way you like. Because Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Totally changed my life.
It's amazing. I don't have any cravings. You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed only $59.99 or your money back. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Thursday, April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in Jeff City, or 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Register 30 minutes before. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Thursday, April 23rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel in Jeff City, or 2 p.m. on Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott in Columbia. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of main event catering, and with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
The Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini situation. Well, now it's all coming after Vrabel at the moment.
Well, it should be.
It should be. Absolutely.
It should be both of them. But.
Yeah. But Rossini has already resigned from her job, so that's kind of resolved at the moment. Now Vrabel in his position is catching it all, deservedly.
Yeah. So the news update, there are more pictures that came out of these two hanging out at a bar in 2020.
Yeah.
Smooching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't innocent. We knew all along it wasn't innocent. I tried to tell you. But the degree to which now this is like, how many years has this been going on? Like, she later got married, had a family, like all very, very personal, obviously. And that's why maybe I think there's just a lot of people that behind the scenes probably in that industry knew what was up and were like, I'm not touching this. But now it's all out in sort of public of what had been going on. We can still connect some dots, but it's not innocent. And I think the problem for Vrabel is the harsh way that he came out against the allegations initially to say, oh, it's laughable that people would think that, us being seen together in Arizona has anything to do with anything. Like you dismissed it out of hand, right? And then starts to have to creep back. Still never really admitted anything, but told reporters the other day that I had some difficult conversations with my family. Like, okay, about what? Why were they difficult? I thought nothing happened.
Right.
Well, now I'm going to miss day 3 of the draft because I've agreed to go to counseling to better myself, which great. I mean, that part, fine.
Go to counseling,
but like,
sure.
It had to be day 3. You couldn't do it the next day. It's just bizarre. That was PR spin that came out ahead of these additional photos coming out. That's all that was. That's why that came out when it did. They were trying to get out ahead of it. It was a feeble attempt. The problem I have now with Mike Vrabel is, and the same was true for Rossini, but as you said, she already resigned her post. So as long as she doesn't get another job in the industry, what does it matter? But with Vrabel, like, he's supposed to be of high character, right? He's the head coach. He's a position of trust. He dismissed and talked down to reporters and all this about how could people think, well, laughable. It's so hypocritical because now it's very clear that this was deeper than ever it had been publicized as. And do you think people are stupid? Do you just have no respect for them that you can treat people that way, knowing all along that you did engage in some of this activity that people are accusing you of? That is the part that I just can't square the circle on, the lack of self-awareness and just to think you're so above it all that you'd be able to come out so strongly against, but then it's all true. Everything everyone has said about you, to me, is true at this point because you've been caught in multiple lies to this juncture. So that's where I do think it becomes a problem for the Patriots, a football problem, interfering now with the draft, which, again, it's just a very bizarre way they're going about handling it. I don't think he should remain the Patriots coach because I think there's a question of his character and ability to lead based on what has come out about him that he previously dismissed and talked down to people for even having the audacity to ask about it. So that's where I'm at. And I loved Mike Vrabel this past year. I think he's a great football coach. I think there's a lot here. And now, knowing that you lied once, I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know how deep the web of lies goes. This has been a disaster class in PR, crisis management, whatever you want to call it, because this would have been a lot different if they had just come originally and said, yep, some mistakes were made, and here's what we're going to do about it. But now you've made everybody for a fool. And that's the part that I think is going to come back to haunt Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel, bad decision maker. I've been telling you that for years. Come on, I've been telling you that for years.
In one way or another, we were both right about Mike Vrabel at different times of this.
We don't know if we were right in the way that we were intending, but we were right.
Or the way that we wanted.
No.
This is, like I said, it's become a circus if you've been anywhere near social media today, but it's also clearly like a very deeply personal family matter that has become a circus because of their inability to, at the beginning of this, cop to what had happened and say, please give us the privacy. No, they said, give us privacy over a thing that we're not really going to tell you what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we think you're a loser for asking us about it in the first place. No, for both of them, there's no respect left for either of them because of the way that they handled it with lies. No respect for that.
Yeah, it's very, I don't think the Patriots will fire him, but resigning,
it's bad though. Yeah, it's getting bad to that point where he
might need to.
There may be pressure to have something happen. I'll be very curious to see. Right now, they put out a statement an hour ago and they said, we blah, blah, blah.
Support him. Yeah,
so we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, it's tough there. We'll end it there. I'll save my other thing for later.
Okay.
This is...
I have been wanting to talk about this. And by the way, now it makes a lot of sense why it just was weird, eerie from like the top down. NFL media was not touching this. I think a lot of people probably had an inkling. If they were that public in multiple pictures, they were seen at a casino in 2024. Like if they've been hanging out that much, people just said, I'm going to stay quiet until all of this comes out and it becomes a very personal thing and I just don't want to touch it. Understood, but they could have handled it so much better.
That was quite the performance from Marissa McCann last night for Mizzou softball. Perfect game, 11 strikeouts. So majority of the outs she recorded in the game were strikeouts. 7-inning game, 1-run rule victory. So you went the full length of the game, and she did not allow a single base runner. 13th Mizzou softball perfect game in their program's history. And what a job by Marissa McCann to shut down SIUE yesterday.
Yeah, which is great to see. And we know that a win like that was important. You want to continue on that track to get that 500 record or better. And that was a game that we talked about being added to the schedule, and certainly did handle business in that one as a team.
And they went to SIUE earlier in the year, won that game. That was a no-hitter by Sierra Harrison. So they have 2 no-hitters against the same team this year. One here and one over in Edwardsville. So well done, Marissa McCann, getting that done. And again, key one. Now it's about making sure you can get enough games from your conference schedule. You do have one more midweek next week against UMKC, but got to get at least 2 of those conference games remaining against Arkansas and Tennessee. Those are both top 10 opponents. We'll see if Mizzou softball can get that done. Traveling to Arkansas this weekend. Mizzou baseball hosts Arkansas, trying to snap a losing streak tonight. That'll be at 7 o'clock. 6:45 is when pregame begins. You'll hear Tex and Matt right here on KTGR. In the meantime, we'll keep you occupied until 6, talking more draft. All right, so what are the Chiefs actually going to do? We'll give our ironclad predictions coming up next, and we'll talk about the mess the NCAA could have on their hands with this 5-5 business next on The Big Show.
Hi, my name is Matt Curtis, and I'm an exteriors project specialist for True Sun Exteriors. True Sun's been around for over 15 years, and in that time, we have really expanded all the services that we provide to homeowners. We do full-on interior remodeling, but we got our start in exteriors. We have always been known for roofing. Most of our roofs are done and completed in about a day's time. We have a lot of different options for designer shingles and colors, and we also do metal roofing. It could be ag panel and or standing seam with multiple colors. We know roofs can be a big investment, so we offer several different financing options with any and every budget. Just give us a call and we'll come out and evaluate your home.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
1851 Underground Tap and Grill in Fulton loves celebrating a change of season. Spring means new flavors in the specialty cocktail menu, as well as seasonal beers. At 1851 Underground, spring also means the Cards and Royals on TV, with the new hope of a new season. Plus plenty of space with pool tables and a beautiful wraparound bar. Find them on Facebook for daily specials too. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Rainy, what should we get Mom for Mother's Day? She doesn't need more candles.
She definitely doesn't need another air fryer.
Mom should go fill out her wish list at Betts Jewelers.
Betts Jewelers is having a special wish list event May 5th through 9th.
Come in and add 3 items to your wish list to get a $50 store credit.
No minimum purchase, no catch, just free money, baby.
Moms love jewelry for Mother's Day, so go to Betts Jewelers and make it easy on Dad.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
This is Sports Center. I'm Chad Ryder. The first round of the NFL Draft is tonight, taking place in Pittsburgh. The Giants have the 5th and 10th overall picks. What will New York do? ESPN NFL Draft analyst Jordan Reed.
I think one of those picks is going to be defense, but you have to help Jackson Dart out as well. So whether it's an offensive lineman, they have a hole at right guard, and then also they need a receiver with Malik Neighbors coming off the ACL tear. Wanda Robinson is now gone. They just don't have that bona fide number one until Malik Neighbors gets back. So do you get somebody like a Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State at number 10 overall? I think that makes a lot of sense. And then with that 5th overall pick, you go with somebody like a Sonny Styles or a Caleb Downs.
And you can listen to the NFL Draft right here on ESPN Radio. Coverage starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can watch the draft on ESPN and ABC at 8 Eastern. NBA news, ESPN's Shams Charania reported that the Bucks finalizing a contract with Taylor Jenkins to be their new head coach. Thunder star Jalen Williams will miss the remainder of their first-round playoff series against the Suns with a strained hamstring. Day baseball, and the Dodgers blanked the Giants 3-0. Tyler Glasnow 8 scoreless.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Bush. Back to the wall, and it's Gunner. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers. This is the big show, baby. Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is the Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Oh, we're getting closer to the first round of the NFL draft, getting underway tonight in Pittsburgh. Chiefs have 2 picks. What are they actually going to do? We've talked a lot about the hypotheticals. Now we're going to put ourselves on the spot. Can we predict? Can we call our shot on how the Chiefs are going to spend the evening? Andy and I will try to do that coming up in just a couple of minutes. And at 5:25, this 5 for 5 conversation in college athletics is getting pretty serious, where maybe it's even being sanctioned now by the NCAA president, and there might be some legitimacy to it happening soon. What are we going to do? Because the rosters have already kind of been built largely through the transfer portal. And if all these seniors come available, guys like Mark Mitchell, what happens then could be an interesting conversation. So we'll try to unpack that at 5:25. You can call or text us 573-875-KTGR. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Tonight's the night. It's a big one for the Chiefs. What do they do with 9 and 29? Do they keep those picks? I would be fine with them doing that. I trust their evaluators to know exactly what to do at 9. And certainly 29, you can have that added value there as to what the Chiefs can do. But there is ammunition for them to trade up if they really want to get either David Bailey or Arvell Reese and trade into the top 3. They've got the resources to do that if they want. They can also maybe trade that 29 for Brian Thomas Jr. Who knows? Lots of different possibilities, but we will nail down what we actually think they'll do coming up in a few minutes on The Big Show.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Although there is a little negative news on the Chiefs front today as they get set for the draft. According to the Kansas City Star, defensive backs coach David Merritt was arrested late last night in Johnson County near Overland Park. The 54-year-old was allegedly found or is alleged to have a misdemeanor assault incident involving his daughter. So it appears to be a domestic issue there. Apparently had his court appearance today. I'm not sure how many more details we're going to know about this. Chiefs say they're aware and they're handling it, but not great, heading into the draft. And that's a good coach, David Merritt. The Chiefs secondary, the way that they built that up from their youth is largely because of him.
Number 3.
We're obviously monitoring the Mizzou players that could be drafted this weekend. And the most likely name we could hear tonight is Zion Young, projected to be late first round, early second round pick. Loved the mock draft we read yesterday from Jordan Reed that had him going to the Texans at 28, I believe. But look, I think if he gets taken as a first round pick, whoever gets him will not be disappointed. Even as a second rounder, there's not that added incentive of being eligible for the 5th year option, which would be a bit of a bummer. But if he falls to the second round, somebody there is also going to get a steal.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Mike Vrabel. I mean, at this point, I think his job should be in jeopardy. I don't know if the Patriots are going to actually pull the trigger themselves, but they might slightly whisper behind closed doors, hey, buddy, this is not a good look. And Mike Vrabel, if he really is the man of character that he's trying to convince us that he is, maybe he should step down from that role. The news is just not very good, and it gets worse by the minute.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Well, the Mets finally snapped that 12-game losing streak, but they lost Francisco Lindor in the process. Come on!
That's The Big Show's top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Or text us at 875-KTGR. I think they had to place him on the IL with a calf issue. He came out of the game Wednesday when they finally won 3-2 and had to come out. And now on the IL.
Yeah, that's a tough beat. I thought the Mets would be good this year. I really did. And it's hard to imagine them turning things around to the degree that they'll need to based on, well, that news and just how long that losing streak ended up being before they finally got on the other side of it.
Yeah, look, it's still early, but 8-16.
Yeah.
We've been talking about the Royals at 8-17, thinking they're done essentially with that, but
I kind of do think they're done too.
It seems that way.
It's not the way you want to start.
So, and especially now with Lindor on the IL, and we'll see how they're able to pick themselves up, but not great. Amazingly, though, not last in their division. The Phillies are last. So that
Another
also has
thing
been
I did
very
not
surprising.
anticipate. Yeah, that's been a topsy-turvy NL East to begin the season. Like the Braves being good, I thought, sure, the Braves would be good.
Yeah.
But they're so good that it's kind of bogging down, and the rest of the division is mediocre at best. The Marlins are second place right now, and they're not even above 500. And then you have the NL Central, where everybody's above 500, which we've always thought about that being kind of a middling division. So, yep, that's baseball for you. We'll see how long all of those trends stick or if they kind of revert back to the mean.
So, yeah, that was at least unfortunate to see from the Mets standpoint. At least now they can say that losing streak is done, but their manager still shouldn't feel all that safe. 875-KTGR, if you want to call or text us. Oh, boy. Do we want an update? We're going to get to Chiefs draft stuff.
All right, what do we got?
Very soon. We're going to give what we think the Chiefs should do tonight. But
now, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Are we going to say what we think they should do or what they will do? Is this predictive in nature, or are we
This is predictive, and we're trying to nail it.
We're going to predict it. Okay, got it.
We're going to be wrong, but we're trying. We're at least trying.
Yeah.
Jonathan Jones, lead NFL insider for NFL on CBS. Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel will talk to the media in about an hour ahead of the draft.
Wow. Where are you seeing? Is this a tweet?
This is a tweet. Jonathan
Not
Jones.
Biff Buffers. This is real.
I'm checking to make sure it's real. It looks real. Yeah, Jonathan Jones. He's a real guy.
Hey, I think I heard of him before.
Yeah.
Got like
Sports.
96,000 followers.
Yeah, he's legit.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what that will lead to, but that's unexpected, right? That's not what we had previously been expecting to have happen. Jonathan Jones looks like based in New England. Yeah, I mean, there's maybe some.
Mike Reese is saying the same thing.
Okay, so this is coming.
Yeah, it's coming. So
I don't know the degree to which this is even a good idea, because the last time, like thinking about it from a PR standpoint for him, the last time he got up there, he made a statement, didn't really want to address questions about it, was very vague in the way that he talked about it. And it's almost like, how could he have done that knowing that there's going to be additional information that comes out? Maybe he thought there wouldn't be, right? He didn't know they had pictures of him in a casino in 2024 or a bar in 2020. But like, they got you this time. You don't think it's possible? Like, you expand your horizons to imagine that they might just have you clocked, Vrabel, and they might just know what's up.
Yeah.
And they're going to release it. And by the way, people are going, well, if you had these photos from 2020, like, why release them now? Why not release them a couple days ago? I could see a world in which all this comes out and it's like, oh, remember that time I took a photo of Mike Vrabel at a bar in 2020? Let's get that out of here and sell it. I don't know how that came to be. It is a little suspicious that it would be held for 6 years. But there's no better time in human history probably to release something like that and get, if you're into the tabloid business, get some money for a photograph like that. But this is what they do. They release stuff the day of the draft to throw chaos into orbit, because now this conversation is exactly like the Laramie Tunsil thing was a few years ago, other than like he was a player being drafted. And there's this big surprise news story that everybody's talking about, buzzing about on the day of the draft. For him to come out and talk, what could he possibly be saying? It's going to be fascinating.
Resigning.
If it's not, I resign, then I don't understand why you would be having this conversation.
Yeah, well, at this point,
rushing it in an hour.
At this point, Patriots PR needs to get Mike Vrabel as far away from a microphone as possible.
unless he's just calling it, and
Right.
and he says that's it. That's I'm done. I'm out. Which maybe is like you said. Look, I don't know if they fire him, but it seems like. Oh man,
I
it
could
like it would make some
absolutely see a conversation that would have happened between Robert Kraft and Mike Vrabel saying, "Look, buddy,
Robert Kraft, though, of all people, I don't think can have that conversation with him. I disagree with you. I don't think it would have been Robert Kraft because Robert Kraft has been in the news for undue behavior himself.
Well, I'm not saying
right?
that they publicly would have said, "Oh, I talked with Robert Kraft about this." I feel like it probably would have happened behind closed doors.
The executive levels, I think it would be. I agree with you there. I just don't know that Robert Kraft, I think would be willing to write it out with Mike Vrabel if he thought it was possible from a PR standpoint to do so. The way that Ian Rappaport is phrasing it in other news, Patriots are making him available to reporters at 6:20 p.m. or 7:20 p.m. I changed it to 6:20 because I assume that's Eastern time.
Yeah.
So Executive Vice President of Player Personnel, Elliot Wolf, will be available at the end of the night tonight, the end of each day throughout the draft, which I think is normal, just draft related. It's very strange that they're adding this to the docket when I don't think it was expected.
Well, I think what was going to happen was that Vrabel, if the Patriots, they have a pick tonight, there's maybe talk of them trading out of that pick and not picking tonight.
Mhm.
If they had not picked tonight, Vrabel wasn't going to speak. But if they made that pick, he was going to after the draft.
But at the end about the pick. And so now maybe it's like, wow, this is getting bad. If we don't just trot you out and get you out of here, then it's going to be only about that after we make our selection, which is not going to be fair to the draft pick. I thought maybe they'd trade out of the pick just to avoid the coach having to talk. Like
it wouldn't have been that bad of an idea.
Nothing is out of bounds at this point when it comes to the theories you could come up with for this topic, because it is as crazy as your imagination could allow and then some, I think, in reality. So maybe it makes sense to get him out there, do what you can to address the new information. But do you tell more lies? Do you say, I've made some mistakes, some missteps in the way that I've handled it. I wasn't professional in the way that I addressed it because it wasn't the whole truth. Obviously the whole truth may be coming out, but I need to handle with my family and like do the PR thing. But there's just no respect left when you blatantly lie over and over, and then you get found out about it and you're like, well, what do you say at that point? You're just caught. You're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
So, but maybe the plan, if he's not resigning, is we're going to get you out of here. And then after the draft, when we pick somebody with that pick toward the end of the first round, we'll be able to hopefully answer questions just about that, because the director of player personnel is not going to have anything to do with the decision on whether Mike Vrabel is going to be around. Right. So let's just, as PR, you say, focus your questions about the draft pick, because this guy's got nothing to do with the other pick. And so that's going to be the way they're going to handle it. I will be staying tuned to Twitter at 6:20 p.m. I can promise you that.
I think so.
Because it has been a madhouse all day.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. So let's focus now on the Chiefs front as to what they should do today. Now, in a similar this news about David Barrett is something they're internally also.
This sucks for them too.
Yeah, really does.
We've kind of given the credit to the coaching staff of, I don't know, they'll churn out these defensive backs that they bring in and they'll be fine, trading away guys like McDuffie, like that. This is just what they do. What if this guy is why they did it? He needs to be gone. Like, if that's the case, that maybe impacts. Now, I don't think it changes what you do tonight, because I don't think you can be so reactionary as that. This is all just a developing situation. And if it's meritorious that he's out of here, then that'll be what they have to do. But good defensive backs, good cornerbacks, whatever, are still those players. So you still have to attack it, I think, from a draft perspective. You just may not have the ability, if this guy has been the DB whisperer, to be able to turn these guys into great long-term plays. Then maybe you don't have the ability to coach them up the same way that you have, but I don't think you can change your draft approach based on that.
Yeah, and look, we don't know the details, and look, we probably never will. That's kind of where I think this might be leading.
Yeah, whatever. If he's a scumbag, he's a scumbag, and he should go. If he's not, he should get to stay. I'm not even gonna. It's just ridiculous how many different how many different type of stories, not just the NFL, because I think it gets painted as like it's an NFL problem. I think we see it throughout professional sports and throughout our world.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to say, well, what if he did? I don't know. Dude, if he did, then he shouldn't be a coach. He shouldn't be around the Chiefs. Yeah. If it's a misunderstanding, as sometimes these situations are, then that'll be what that is, and they should keep him. But we're not going to know. So it's hard to really like stand on the soapbox and say, I know exactly what happened. I saw some pictures of Mike Vrabel and thought I knew what happened, and turned out I was right. This one, I got no background, no nothing to go on, so I'm not going to.
Apparently happened last night. Was when he was arrested in Johnson County. Had his court appearance today. You're very early in the process as to knowing what exactly might have been the case. So, look, it's not great to have that weighing over this Chiefs draft. But strictly on the football side of it, look, all kinds of scenarios. What is the one that you want to tie yourself to, Brendan, as to what they do?
I think they keep the pick at 9 and select a player with it. I think they go defense. I'm trying to zero in on if it's just going to be Ruben Bain. But, man, if Caleb Downs is there.
That is the toughest decision between two players for me. Yeah.
I would take Caleb Downs the more I think about it. I think Ruben Bain's probably a great pass rusher. I don't know that he's generational. Like Caleb Downs, I don't think can miss in this league.
And again, you can stick Caleb Downs potentially at slot corner.
Just imagine Spags having his hands on this kid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He would do so many creative things with him. I would be very curious to see what that would look like. Yes, you do need to address edge at later in the draft. Totally. I agree. But I think there maybe are enough questions about Bain that if you're met with that conversation, and like I'm seeing mocks of Tyson going in the top 5, if he's not an option, if Carnell Tate is gone, certainly it makes it easier. If you're sitting there with the decision between the two of them, pick one of them, I think is what the Chiefs will do.
Mm-hmm.
But I might even go Downs. And I don't know why I think the Chiefs will too. I can't put my finger on why I think that's what they're going to do. But it just seems like they come away in these drafts sometimes where everybody's going, oh my gosh, what if as the league, we just gave the Chiefs X? And it was like Xavier Worthy, where it's like, oh, let's give him the fastest player in the draft. And I'm not saying that ended up being like just a slam dunk pick. Time will tell still on his career. But like a lot of times it feels like the Chiefs win the draft night when it comes to knowing the player they got is a great player, or Joshua Simmons, where like we thought, oh, he only fell because of the injury stuff. And he probably would have gone even earlier in that draft than the end of the first round. Mm-hmm. Did the league just give the Chiefs a future left tackle? Like it feels like draft night, they're willing to make those types of picks that are taking what the draft gives you. And the draft giving you Caleb Downs when you have the best offensive player in the history of football, and you're like, we can draft an elite defensive player and stock up that side of the ball. I think that would be something that I would find very difficult to pass on. But like if you were sitting there with Delane available as well, the cornerback out of LSU, does that become difficult because you're like, we're taking a safety over a corner, really?
Yeah.
So I think they're going to take a defensive player at 9. I think if they trade back a little bit and take a defensive player at one of the spots they trade back to, unless they trade back far enough where it's like, hey, wide receiver becomes interesting as well. Because I do think you'll see wide receivers going early. If wide receivers fall and they've got their choice of Tyson or Carnell Tate, then maybe they go that route. But I don't think that happens. I think teams get so enamored these days when it comes to the skill players that we're seeing more of those guys go early. I'll say Caleb Downs is who they're taking. I'm calling my shot.
You know, I'd be intrigued to believe you on that and go with you because of the Chiefs' way that they want to do this. They want to put out a bunch of information on what they could do.
Yeah.
And not necessarily show their hand as to what they are actually going to do. And
sure.
I don't know how much they utilize the 30 visits when it comes to that. But, I mean, there's been no real buzz around Caleb Downs and the Chiefs. He did not take a 30 visit with them. So I'd be inclined to believe that, like, hey, maybe that is the case. Maybe that's exactly what they want people to think, that they're not tied to this guy at all. And then they're just going to go ahead and take him. Maybe that's it.
I got to predict something fun. Like, I can't just predict what the mean expectation is, because sometimes a curveball is thrown. So it'd be a fun curveball. Like, we would have a lot of fun watching him play on the Chiefs. And I would say if they do that, then at 29, they're probably not. Like, that's the question. Do they have to then take a corner because they didn't in the first pick and had a chance to, or do they have to take an edge rusher? It's hard for me because I'm like, I don't really know if the kid out of Texas A&M, that edge rusher, is he going to be available when you get to 29?
Yeah, good.
I'll say at 29, they do something that like annoys me. Like, they take Denzel Boston and Concepcion was there to be had, something like that. That's my prediction.
Oh, you mean like how I felt when the Texans had like the second pick of the second round and they took Jaden Higgins instead of Luther freaking Burden?
Yeah, that was bad. The Bears almost fell over themselves to trade up. I feel like, well, okay, let's get this guy.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Come on.
Because Luther's going to be a good player for Chicago for a long, long time. Yeah, you could have had that, man. I remember texting you like, he's there. Are they going to take a what? Oh, wrong wide receiver.
And they decided to go with another Iowa State wide receiver later in the draft. Like, what is it with the Cyclones? Like, what do you mean? Come on. Anyway, I think they take Ruben Bain at 9. And at 29.
That would be fine. By the way.
Yeah. Like, because I actually think Downs will be unavailable. I would think that a team takes him before 9.
I almost hope that doesn't happen because I want to see what they do.
Oh, yeah.
If they were faced with that, just out of like sheer curiosity between Bain and Downs, what they would do.
I'm going at 29. At 29, I think they'll go with Jermod McCoy if he's available, or whoever is available between Colton Hood and Jermod McCoy.
I was almost about to say Colton Hood, but then I thought, are they really going to go? I just predicted the safety. Are they going to go back-to-back secondary picks, which maybe they should? That would be one way to do it. We talked about beefing up the edge, rather, the pass rush, and then kind of dealing with the secondary however you can. Maybe they do it the opposite. I don't know. It seems unlikely.
Yeah.
I think it's like a Denzel Boston or an edge rusher who isn't Zion Young at 29.
Right.
That's my prediction.
And I would say the most likely trade scenario that I would tie myself to is them trading up to either 2 or 3 and getting one of those, like Arvell Reese or David Bailey.
Just putting all their chips in on one elite defensive player.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they saw a lot of edge rushers. Like, they brought in a bunch of them. And it seems that maybe they evaluated them, they graded them out very evenly, and so they bring them in to see, okay, what actually is the difference between these players. And I would think that they saw some differences in those two in particular. And so I wouldn't be surprised if they decide, like, hey, we know that these guys give us a good floor, but this is our difference maker and we need one. And so I would not be surprised if they feel the best option for them in a particular trade with that pick at 9 is to try and give it up, use some other ammunition, and keep the Cardinals or the Giants or someone else from getting one of those 2 edge rushers.
Yeah, and then, like, you're not going to come away from the draft feeling like you blew it if you did that. Like, there'd be part of you, the pang of like, ooh, I could have had 2 first-round players. But there would be that aspect of like, you got one of the best players in this draft and maybe the best defensive player in this draft, and that at a position of need. Play opposite of George Karlaftis, be able to get a pass rush, let Spags go to work, and you draft some cornerbacks to go bring into camp and try to see who can rise up the depth chart and do what we've always done in Kansas City, whether the defensive backs coach is there or not. Like, you can't really bank on that this weekend. There would be merit to that. I just want to see him take 2 players, but if they did trade up and started that draft with a bang, they'd be popping champagne in that draft room because they would feel very strongly about the player they're getting.
Yeah, so I'll tie myself to Bain and McCoy. And then just for fun, I'll say at 40, they go with Zion Young. Probably won't be available.
Gone. I hope he is gone.
I hope he's a Texan.
They better take him.
I hope he's a Texan.
If he's not gone, they better take him at 40 tomorrow.
I'd be intrigued by Trotter.
Hell yes.
I mean,
like we talk with Calum McAndrew. If they're talking about, that's the thing though. If they're talking about like second, third, you take him at 40. I don't think they would.
You have a linebacker spot open. You don't now. The question would be: is he basically Nick Bolton's position, or does he play into that? Like it. He's maybe a similar player to Bolton, ironically enough, in that sense. But I would like to give myself options there. Again, we're talking about rebuilding this defense. There's still levels
what's
that
their
they need.
pick in the third round? Do they have a third round pick?
74, I believe, is their third round pick.
So earlier in the round, like for sure, if he's there, then I think I would love to see that. I don't know if they would go 40 on like early second round. Not saying that a team that would do that wouldn't benefit from it, but I don't know if the Chiefs will do that because of other needs on the table.
It is interesting. Yeah, it might be a tackle also at that spot that they could very easily do. Like if a Caleb Lomu falls, probably go with him. But that's almost as intriguing of a pick as the 29, if you ask me, because even in the second round, they're not expected to have even those types of picks.
Yeah, early in the round. That's going to benefit you throughout the draft.
Yeah.
And because a pick that's, earlier in the given round allows you to then maybe trade into the round above it to do some damage there. Not saying like second to first, but third to second, fourth to third. Like you can do stuff like that throughout the draft.
Give us your predictions on what you think the Chiefs will do in the draft tonight. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. We'll keep giving our predictions. We'll tell you some of yours. And then up next, the NCAA has a huge mess potentially on their hands. I know that's pretty evergreen, but now it involves how they will roll out a potential 5 years to play 5 seasons eligibility rule across college sports. We'll get to that next.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
It's baseball season, which means practice, games, and a lot more time in the car. Make sure your tires are ready for every mile with spring rebates at Lee's Tire Company. Get up to $140 back on select Cooper tires, or up to $180 back on select Goodyear tires. More home runs, more cheering, more mustard on your shirt. For deals that never swing and miss, visit Lee's Tire Company.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin & Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin & Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin & Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin & Sticklin, it's a home run.
My name is Cornell Dillard. For many years, I was stubborn from getting a hearing aid because of the stereotype. I went to hearing aid consultant because they're not trying to move a product. They want to work with you to make sure that you can benefit from their services. And I must say I was not disappointed. And I regretted all the years I let my pride interfere with my ability to hear what I'm hearing today.
Hearing Aid Consultants and Allmaker Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. Online at hearingaidconsultants.com.
When you have a great product, it's not hard to sell, and no one has a better product than Fuse 32. When you're a part of our sales force, our creative team makes your job a lot simpler, like selling a fully loaded SUV with TVs in the back for the young family and a third row because they're expecting more. It's a win-win, and everyone's happy. You'll have total confidence in yourself, the team alongside you, and what you offer to clients. Apply now at Fuse32.com. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46 years. I went to a seminar in March of 27 and seen Mark. My best friend came with me. We both went to it, and neither one of us smoked a cigarette in almost 7.5 months. I took my 3 sisters and my brother-in-law and my sister's best friend and then went. None of them have smoked a cigarette, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
My name is Jen Carpenter. I went to a Mark Patrick seminar, the Stop Smoking, and it worked. A friend of mine also went, and he still no longer smokes, and it was just amazing.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. Become a non-smoker and lose weight with Mark Patrick, and use hypnosis to put a stop to those unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. One of our early claims we had to make, unfortunately, was from a hailstorm. And as soon as that first hail hit our house, I texted Phyllis and I said, oh boy, we're in trouble. Phyllis walked us through everything, made everything very seamless. Phyllis made it so easy. Her team followed up, checked in, and really went to bat for us. When things weren't moving properly, she would make sure that everything was accounted for, and she really just did an above and beyond job for us and everyone we referred her to.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
Could be a lot of craziness and chaos when it comes to the NFL draft tonight. We'll see what the Chiefs do. I am also interested, Brendan, in this potential chaos that we could see across college sports. Because the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, it seems he's really trying to advance this 5-and-5 eligibility requirements that we had talked about on the show before. Essentially, the NCAA would modify eligibility to allow players to play 5 years. You can play 5 years potentially if you're fully healthy for it and you meet the age requirements. You come straight out of high school or you're younger than 24. You can play 5 years, but that's it. And there's no red shirts. There's no medical waivers.
No, nothing.
Really cuts down on the exceptions that you could get to get an extra year.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you implement that? Because they're trying to get it done quickly. I can imagine their haste when it comes to this, and that makes sense, but we're in the middle of transfer portal season. And so when teams are trying to build their rosters, and a lot of teams are not done yet, Mizzou is not done yet. They got 3 spots open. Now, if you're saying all of a sudden you throw the cylinder down and you're like, everybody that played this year, these new rules now apply to. That means Mark Mitchell could be available next year to play in college once again. And several other seniors that thought they were done or could come back. Now, it probably doesn't allow for guys that have gotten medical red shirts to come back that were over 24 years old.
Yeah, 5-and-5. It would still be applicable. You'd have to fit a certain criteria at that point. But there would be Sean Phillips, I think, would be technically within that. But from Mizzou's standpoint, Mark Mitchell would be one that I don't think you'd even have to question. You just have to find the money to get him to come back. If that were to come into place, where they would say, 5-and-5, and we're it's just what it is. Even if you thought you were out of eligibility this past time through, you're actually not. You got one more. If that is the way they implemented it, it would be crazy. And it may be a reason that we don't see a ton of those whatever big name players are left. I'm sure there are still names that are out there that are noteworthy that teams would be happy to spend on. But if there's a whole new swath of players that could become available and you've already spent your whole budget, that gets a little bit tricky. And then the question of roster limits also becomes very relevant, where it's what do you do with that? Because there are these other guys who, and I guess if you entered the portal and lost your spot at your old school because you thought you'd be able to get a new spot somewhere else, and then the roster limits are such that a bunch of super seniors are taking the spot you thought you could have somewhere, then like tough luck, I guess. That already happens in some of these sports where people kind of overshoot their market value, but it would be a mess, and you'd have to be very nimble, I think, in the market as a coaching staff, as a front office, because that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to be very nimble to be able to kind of navigate that and do it in a way that puts your program in position to take advantage of something. Like, forget just Mark Mitchell, as great as that would be to get him back, but like maybe he doesn't want to come back, whatever. There'd be other players from other programs that maybe are in that situation where they're not able to go back to the place that they just came from, but Mizzou'd be glad to have them, like there's a lot of different ways that something like that could play out.
Is it better to grandfather this in?
How do you mean? Like just to say, hey, this is the rule, but it doesn't apply to you from last year.
Everyone that is in college right now, put a wall up, and then everyone that hasn't entered college yet, that would include Jason Crow, technically. Like he's not in college yet.
So you're saying like incoming freshmen would be the first line that would be included as the first
class of college players that has to adhere to these rules.
But then it would be like the COVID thing where like, do they have a COVID year? Do they have a 5-5, or are they not part of that? We'd be asking that question 4 years from now, which is maybe not a big deal, but it would be irritating.
Yeah, I mean,
I would almost be fine with, and there would be lawsuits, and this is the problem, because it's a lawsuit-driven industry at this point, and this is a move to try and curtail some of that and try to sue for a waiver and do all this stuff that they don't want to have to deal with anymore. But if you had a situation where you said, like, the people that just graduated, sorry, but not you, but everybody else, because we haven't implemented it yet. We're going to implement it, this coming season. Like, what if they just waited to do it until November, to say like, yeah, if you're playing now, you count. Not you, Charles Bediaco, not you, seniors from this last year.
Yeah.
Like, would they be able to do that, or do they then get sued by those players that say, hey, you robbed me of my 5th year? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know what the way to go about it is that causes the least number of lawsuits. But I think in any event, the number won't be 0. So we'll still have to deal with this, if I had to guess.
Right. And technically, like in Mark Mitchell's case, someone who has not declared for the NBA draft yet, technically they're still a student. Like they're still with the team just until next month, essentially.
Don't, if you're the NCAA and like, maybe it takes longer than this to resolve anyway, but if you drag your feet and don't do it within the next month,
right,
if it's in the summer when people are no longer enrolled, whatever, maybe that's the line, but I don't know. Like I said, that feels flimsy, because a kid could just say, oh, I'll re-enroll. I want to do a master's program now. And like suddenly you're, what I mean? From the academic part of it, that's easily resolvable. You can just pretend that you want to do a program until your season's over. Like, what's stopping them?
And it's not just like for these sports. We're thinking about it in basketball terms, because that's the period
that's happening now.
We're thinking about it. Like, I don't know what it would mean for football. I think for football, it's mostly set. Like you can't really do much about that. For the spring sports, like this is a real thing. Like the seniors now would absolutely be wondering, because their seasons are not done yet. Like, hey, do I get another run at this?
And the pro leagues in those non-revenue generating sports are not quite as much of a consideration. Like they exist, right? But like if you're playing college softball and there are pitchers at Texas Tech getting $1 million to play, like the NIL opportunities at the collegiate level are greater than whatever exists at the professional level in many cases. So you would be talking about that for softball. You'd be talking about that for Olympic sports. It would be a humongous conversation in those categories as well. When it gets to football, I feel like that's just almost, it honestly can help a coach that wants to build up a culture and like, say, hey, trust that you're going to be here. And as a freshman that doesn't play, don't worry about that, because you're going to have plenty of time to be able to get in, and we have a vision for you long term. You need to bulk up in the weight room, like all of those sorts of things. As part of this 5-5, by the way, it would put a limitation, I believe, wouldn't it, on transfers? Like you get one-time transfer was the way that it's been discussed, or is that completely unrelated? I think
asked
that's
this unrelated
before, and it's not related, but I've seen versions of it that maybe it would be. So I guess we'll wait and see on that. But
I think that was part of like the I think that was Trump's executive order. Like he proposed 5 for 5, and then I think also the one-time transfer thing. But the only thing the NCAA has really taken up here recently is the 5 for 5 thing. I mean, I'd be fine with the one-time transfer thing too.
This is uncomfortable that I actually agree with that.
I mean,
I feel like that makes some sense.
A little bit,
but if this is not what they would be implementing right away, then it's irrelevant to that conversation. But for sure, it would come to, hey, when is this implemented and who's included, who's not? That is the next great challenge of the NCAA to figure out. I do think we all kind of agree long term, having a way to avoid these incessant questions over who's eligible for more than another player for why, but make it a blanket rule and say, sorry, man, sucks to suck. Like if you had an injury, it sounds harsh, but it is also a way to keep our sanity. And I think be fair as well to incoming college athletes that are looking for the next opportunity. Like it does get to the get a job point when you're more than 24 years old and you've been hanging around for 8 years. Like we don't need that. It's not, college athletics doesn't need that. It's not anything against any one player who has taken advantage of that opportunity, but we can all kind of collectively go, I don't think we need that. That's not really what college sports are about.
And I would like to see like a little more life come into incoming freshmen that get more of that chance, because it just seemed that once they created that COVID rule, and look, I'm not saying that it was wrong or that it wasn't tough to make decisions at that very uncertain time. Like I don't envy anyone in that position, but it just did a number on, the opportunities that certain high school kids would have had. And they just all kind of got knocked down a rung from that.
Yes. In trying to be fair to those that lost or had a year plus of their college careers impacted, there were unintended consequences of that toward the next generation, which again, nobody's fault. I'm not even saying it was wrong to have done it that way, but we're far enough removed from it now that it feels like the time that nobody can even cry COVID anymore. Like it's just, if you have injury issues and, you have them for multiple years in a row, then maybe you are destined for another line of work. It's as much as like their players are getting paid and there's NIL and there's these opportunities, that's kind of like you're as close to the real world as you've ever been when it comes to college athletics. And sometimes bleep happens. And so we're giving you that extra year to be able to take advantage of it. And if you're somebody who is healthy for 4 years and want to play a 5th year, bully for you, you get an extra little bonus. But otherwise, stop coming crying to us about it. We understood why in the past that we had fostered this environment where it became very beneficial to do so because the waivers came in waves. But now if you make this change, you'll be able to avoid that headache in the future.
So call or text us. How would you want to see the NCAA implement the 5 and 5 eligibility rules should they come to pass? It looks like the NCAA wants it to pass very quickly. I think we can all agree, though, that whatever we think is best, the NCAA will do something wildly different. Call or text us what you think it will be. Let's give our predictions, more of our predictions as to what the Chiefs will do, what the NFL draft will look like, what words might come out of Mike Vrabel's mouth in less than an hour.
Any true ones this time?
Who's to say? That's all next here on The Big Show.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. NFL draft begins in a little over an hour, and the Chiefs have their highest pick since 2013 when they picked number 1 overall. They have the number 9 overall pick tonight, as well as pick number 29 that they got via the LA Rams in the trade involving Trent McDuffie. They also picked 3 times in the top 40. First time they'll do that since 2008. We're also waiting to see which Mizzou players will hear their names called in the NFL draft throughout this weekend. Most likely name we could hear tonight is defensive end Zion Young, who NFL draft experts project to be a late first or early second round pick. Meanwhile, Mizzou softball got a victory over SIUE 7-0 yesterday. It featured the 13th perfect game in program history. Marissa McCann throwing it. Didn't allow any base runners in 7 innings, struck out 11 batters. Mizzou softball, a game above 500 as they go and visit Arkansas this weekend. Mizzou baseball hosts Arkansas tonight, 7 o'clock first pitch at Taylor Stadium, 6:45 pregame here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Steve's Pest Control. The weather in Missouri is unpredictable. Termites are predictable. They're coming. It's a guarantee, and Steve's Pest Control guarantees to eliminate them. Visit stevespestcontrol.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. It's an ABC 17 Storm Track weather alert day through late tonight as we could see storms with strong winds and heavy rain starting around midnight and continuing throughout the overnight hours. Rain comes to an end early tomorrow with morning temperatures near 60. We'll see highs in the mid-70s. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
On Simmons Field.
Swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit.
And across the SEC.
Fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out.
The Tigers are ready to roar.
There it goes. Long drive, deep right field. That is gone.
This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball.
The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, I'm Sheila, the owner of Midmo Telecom and Security. Zimmer makes it very easy for us to meet our marketing needs, always full of ideas, creative opportunities, and always willing to hear what we need to meet our goals. Our biggest return has really come from Zimmer. We get testimonials all the time from our clients saying, hey, we heard your ad, it was really great, it was funny, and they remember it and it sticks out. We've actually been with Zimmer for 9 years now. We couldn't be happier.
You know business, we grow business. ZimmerCommunications.com.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. That's right. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. Also lose all the weight and let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose all the weight once and for all. Stop smoking hypnosis Saturday, April 25th at the Courtyard by Marriott Hotel in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Register 30 minutes before or sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
In sports, there are bad calls, like wolfing down walking tacos before 9 a.m. warm-ups, discussing NIL deals with your 8U travel team, or trusting the mom who spells lose with 2 O's to order team jerseys. Yay, go Tigres. Here's a good call. Shopping at Play It Again Sports for baseball and softball season. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first, so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com. Extra savings, not extra letters.
Whoops. Arbor Day reminds us that trees give us life. Unfortunately, more than 15 billion trees a year are cut down, and you can't grow a mature tree overnight. Advanced Tree Solutions does more than remove. They protect, diagnose, and plant the right way. Help save what matters. Respect your trees and replant right. Call Advanced Tree Solutions and give your trees the care nature intended. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Everyone's looking for their paradise. For some, the search starts at a dispensary. At Shangri-La, it is the dispensary. Because Shangri-La isn't a shady, I can't wait to get out of here kind of spot. It's a welcoming, fun place to hang out, watch TV, and learn about the massive product selection with the cool staff. Whether you're a regular or first-timer, they'll get you set up just the way you like. Because Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European Christmas vacation. Stroll through Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling Christmas market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein. Shop handcrafted gifts. And even visit a family-run candy workshop. There's still time to experience this trip of a lifetime. Save up to $350 when you book before June 7th. Learn more and reserve your spot today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
Hi, we're Midway Electric, and since you've got a nice large tax return this year, you've got the ability to put it towards something that lasts, like updating your bathroom with modern light fixtures or new kitchen lighting that pops. And Midway Electric is the team of pros you can trust to bring those dreams to life. From custom lighting to complete electrical upgrades, Midway Electric helps transform the spaces you use every day. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Oh, Jason texts in. He wants Reese at 3 for the Chiefs. He wants it.
All in.
All in. Now, he also said Casey Concepcion at 29. I hate to break it to you, Jason, but if they're getting 3, they're not keeping 29.
That's probably true.
So
that's definitely true.
He also says he loves Jacobs. I assume he means Khalil Jacobs.
Oh, yeah. Pick that guy up late. I mean, why not?
That
if he's available to you later on, that'd be a steal.
That's not a bad Leo Chenal replacement. Like right there for the Chiefs.
Again,
they need one.
We're talking about a day 3 pick, maybe even undrafted. I don't know what is expected of Jacobs, but I would love to see a savvy team take a chance on him, and then next thing you know, he's playing in your rotation. Like that's what we see from these Mizzou guys that come out more often than not. So that'd be cool.
Chiefs brought him on a 30 visit. He was there. So very well could be in the realm of possibility. Give us what you think is going to happen with the Chiefs tonight during the first night of the NFL draft. Yes.
I've got one for you. This is facetious, I'll say before I begin, but this tweet reads, as per what Mike Vrabel might say when he speaks to the media about 30 minutes from now. Mike Vrabel gets to the podium, takes a deep breath, and says, "I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody." He shotguns a beer and announces that the Patriots have traded for George Pickens. That would be one way that tonight's event could go. Do you think Pickens is traded tonight, though? Did the Cowboys do that, by the way? Or do we think that they're serious?
He signed the franchise tag so they can trade him now. Like, it's possible.
I don't think that he wants to probably play on that, but they don't probably want to trade him and get worse unless they're getting like a first round pick that they can draft a wide receiver with. But I don't think that that's especially likely. But anyway, I thought that was a funny tweet. So,
well, I would think that he would say that he prides himself as a man of faith, as there's a deep drive to left field by Castellanos.
There you go.
That'll be a home run.
Castellanos, where did you come from?
That'll be an 4-0. But wait a second. What's Nick Castellanos' home run prop tonight?
It's a good question, actually.
I mean, is he playing tonight? I don't even know. Not even sure.
See, Padres.
We're gonna look and make
sure. They've already played.
Already
played.
Dang it! Come on.
Looks like
that would have been perfect, but alas, won't happen this time. Look, I don't see how Mike Vrabel can look his players in the eye anymore. Or I don't see a reason why any of his players, if they screw up in their own life and they go and tell Mike Vrabel about it, I don't see why they should feel the need to tell the truth themselves.
What's he going to do?
Yeah. Come on. It is an accountability thing.
That's all it is like, and people would say, well, this is personal in nature. Why is this a big deal? Some people feel that way. I mean, no, it is a big deal because of the accountability aspect, where if you want to preach one thing but then do another, particularly in your position, there's going to be scrutiny on that. From a perspective, I think the league should be investigating, because we don't know for sure, but could there have been some real tampering aspects of this going on? I mean, some of her reporting, Diana Rossini's reporting, dating back years on, knowing a lot of details about some Titans stuff. I mean, I think the Julio Jones trade going back, back several years. It's just, this has been ongoing for a long time. And to think that there wasn't the potential for, or the actual aspect of utilizing that relationship to, to tamper, to do it, just, you got to investigate. You got to look into it. You got to find out. Even if you're the NFL and you'd say, I'd rather that never, ever come out, because it's going to be a bad look on the league if we investigate and find, legitimate findings and that put a stain on the league because of whatever. But like, you can utilize those reports to try and change public opinion, to try and manifest transactions to happening in the league. And if it was like the perception is like if these two were cooking that up and using it to his gain, then there's ethical concerns with that. So I think the league should investigate it. I think they would love nothing more than for it to go away. But it's like it's gotten to this point where the strategic release of evidence, and it may not be done, who knows? It feels like the day one of the draft is when you drop whatever ammo you had if you were a tabloid trying to make this a huge story. So maybe this is what all that's going to come out. I almost hope it is, because it's already gotten kind of bleak. But I think with what has come out as the league, you got to go, all right, enough dots can be connected at this point that we can't just dismiss it and say like, well, we trust him, like the Patriots have done with their statement within the last couple of hours. So we'll see what he says tonight. If he tries to just continue with the same mentality of like a vague nothing type of statement to try to hope it blows over, good luck. Like if you had done it differently from the very beginning, you might have had to take a different level of accountability, but also I think you could have come back from that. Now, this is what you will be known for, and Rossini is cooked. I mean, I don't see how you come back from this in the capacity that she did as an insider. Maybe she ends up as like a podcaster and has a big following for that if she wants to. Maybe she wants nothing more than to stay out of the public light, because this has been probably a whirlwind, but like I think it's based in actions that two grown-ups made. And so they have to kind of live with them, is the way that it looks like this is going to play out. But from a football perspective, a league perspective, nightmare fuel, because this isn't even just about like a Laramie Tunsil, a guy that's being drafted tonight. It is a story that is completely unrelated to your draft that is going to be all anybody wants to talk about on the night of your big event, one of the biggest events of the year in the NFL.
I mean, players are they're going to be happy that they've been drafted. And even if they are drafted by the Patriots, they will still be very excited about that. This is going to weigh over it, though, and it'll be a distraction for everybody involved with the Patriots. So
Twitter has been on a heater all day long, and it's you feel bad, but you're also like, this is incredible content. What's that? I feel bad for our country, but this is incredible content. That's kind of where we're at.
Well, we'll see what the Chiefs do tonight, and we'll be back at 4 o'clock tomorrow to react to it all. Mizzou baseball coming up at 6:45 this evening. Stay tuned for that as the Tigers take on Arkansas. We'll see you at 4 tomorrow. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Mizzou football will be here before you know it. Join us for the